Where are you coming from? The reason he is my partner, the reason he's my partner is because he had this partner named Santo. Everybody knows who Santo is, Hijo del Santo. Well, he carried him just like this. He carried him on his back for like 2 years, just like his dad carried the father of Santo on his back. And, you know, we're tired of carrying people.
Bueno, vamos a...
Para todos ustedes, especialmente los mexicanos que no entienden inglés, se los tengo que explicar otra vez, pues ahí te da. Lo que está diciendo es lo que pasó con Conan y el perro aguayo. Lo mismo pasó con mi padre y el santo, y lo que pasó con el hijo del santo y conmigo. Cuando estábamos de parejas, siempre lo tuve que cargar aquí atrás, porque no podían luchar. Dicen que son luchadores, pero no luchan. Así como Conan es un luchadorazo, así como Law Machine es un luchadorazo, y también su servidor. Pues mira, nomás lo que estamos diciendo es, hijo del santo, Octagón, no se escondan. No sean guácala de pollo, como dice mi amigo Arturo, ¿verdad? No sean pollos, no sean gallinas. Les estamos retando. ¿Quieren los campeonatos que nosotros tenemos? Pues vengan y agárranlos. ¿Quieren la cabellera de nosotros? Vengan y agárranlos. Lo que ustedes quieran, aquí estamos. Yeah, baby. Gringos locos. USA, #1. ¡Woo!
Nosotros, listo.
¡Woo!
Welcome to Last Match Standing, the podcast where we review, relive, and rank the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time. As always, I'm Spencer.
I'm Business in the front.
And I'm Party in the back.
And today, episode 51, we begin the second half of our journey to the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time. And we are coming to you live from November the 6th, 1994, from the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena in Los Angeles, California, for AAA When Worlds Collide. We have a tag team match between Eddie Guerrero and Art Barr versus Hijo del Santo and Octagon in a hair versus mask match.
Gentlemen, this match is going to be off the chains. Holy crap. This is... God!
I agree. It's almost like there are no words. We definitely wanted Lucha Libre represented in the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time because absolutely it deserves a spot. And so what we did in celebration of National Hispanic Heritage Month, we reached out to the fans, reached out to the people who love Lucha Libre all over the world and asked them to send us what are the greatest Lucha Libre matches we could include in the 100 greatest wrestling match list of all time. And we threw up some of the best ones we got on a Twitter poll. And this was actually in a tie with, what was it? Rey Mysterio and Mystico.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But over on Patreon, where you get an extra vote, this match won in a landslide. So here we are.
We are returning to the LA Memorial Sports Arena, site of WrestleMania 2. Sorry, site of 1/3 of WrestleMania 2 and site of WrestleMania 7, a.k.a. that WrestleMania.
Which means that, of course, they were going to do it somewhere else in the Coliseum, but ended up here.
For
AAA When Worlds Collide.
Because somebody had nuclear heat and had a bomb threat. No, actually, because you made Sergeant Slaughter your main event, and so therefore nobody wanted to go.
It's actually very significant that they ended up here because this is the first Mexican promotion to air on pay-per-view from the United States.
Yeah, in 1994, which is fascinating, right? And to your point, Landon, as far as having a Lucha Libre mask on the list, it feels like, you know, when people think about professional wrestling that don't watch or don't know anything about it, when they picture wrestling in their mind, this is what they picture.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, this is synonymous with what professional wrestling is.
Yeah, it's like... masks aren't that common in American wrestling, but like when you say pro wrestler, the first thing pops up, mask.
It's Lucha Libre.
Yeah.
Right, and I think Mike Tenay makes a really, really good point as he's describing the match. He says when you're at an event in Mexico, they don't sell T-shirts, right? They don't sell T-shirts as souvenirs. They sell masks. And how neat is that, right? It's just a sport with lineage and just history and tradition, and it's probably one of the coolest things in all of professional wrestling, and it is long overdue to make a spot on our list of the greatest wrestling matches of all time. And man, oh man, did we wind up with a good one.
Yeah, we've got a really great one here. I'm confident that all of the ones that we included on the poll will make it on the list at some point.
I think so. I watched all 4 of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So before we deep dive into the 4 guys that are in this awesome, awesome match, let's talk about the history of hair versus mask matches, right?
Tremendous.
So all matches like this, right, be it hair versus mask, mask versus mask, or any such combination of stakes are known as luchas de apuestas, the literal translation being gambling fights. This works so well for professional wrestling, right? It's what drives the narrative. Both wrestlers come into the match with something to wager, something to lose. It could be your mask. It could be your hair. It could be, I don't know, custody of your son.
As a for instance.
That's 11 years later.
Totally could be. The first Lucha de Apuestas was held on July 14th, 1940 at Arena Mexico, when then Empresa Mexicana de Lucha Libre champion Murcielago, a.k.a. the Masked Bat, defended against Octavio Gaona. However, due to his significant size disadvantage going into the match, the champion requested an additional stipulation be added before he would sign the contract. Octavio Gaona would have to put his hair on the line. Octavio won the match and thus forced Murcielago to unmask, thus birthing the tradition of hair versus mask matches in Lucha Libre back in 1940, guys.
What I think is about this match in particular that is so important to talk about before we talk about it is that it is, I don't know how well known of a fact this is, but Del Santo and Eddie Guerrero's fathers were a very celebrated tag team. As a matter of fact, Eddie Guerrero and El Hijo del Santo broke into business as a tag team.
Oh, absolutely. Whenever Eddie joined AAA in 92, he immediately offers to form a tag team with El Hijo de Santo.
It's like, your dad and my dad were a tag team, so let's become a tag team.
La Perea Atomica. Classic tag team. I mean, you think about the classic luchadors in Mexican history, it is Santo. Like that name and that mask in particular. If you think of what is a traditional lucha mask, the mask that you think in your head is Santo's mask.
Solid, like sparkly silver mask. What I think is interesting is that, do you know how that tag team broke up?
Why don't you tell me, Paul?
It broke up because of Art Barr.
Art Barr did sort of crowbar himself in there. Yeah, so Eddie and Santo did have some tag team matches together. But although they had some success, they started teaming with Love Machine, Art Barr, whom Eddie actually brought in behind Santo's back to attack him. In 1994, Eddie Guerrero and Art Barr would form a new stable known as Los Gringos Locos, which came to be known as AAA's answer to the Four Horsemen stable in the United States. I mean, just so good, right? Let's talk about Art, right? A lot of people don't know who Art Barr is.
No, they don't.
Art was a good friend of Roddy Piper, and he was a decorated amateur wrestler out of Oregon. He got his start in pro wrestling at the recommendation of Piper, wrestling as Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah, there's Juicifer.
Yes, that Beetlejuice. You know, after some drug issues, sexual assault convictions, Art had a rough go of it early career, made some tough decisions, and it made it difficult for him to work in the States. So he was brought over to EMLL by Conan. About a year into his Lucha Libre career, he participated in his first mask versus mask match against Blue Panther, also in Arena Mexico. During the match, Barr, wrestling as American Love Machine, performed a pile driver on Blue Panther, which was an illegal move in Mexican wrestling, thus forcing himself to unmask. Soon after this, Barr left EMLL to join Conan's newly formed Asistencia, Asesoría y Administración promotion. I'm doing my best here.
You're doing a great job.
AAA. And so the Love Machine Art Barr debuted in AAA as a villain and formed the tag team La Pareja del Terror, the Pain of Terror, with Eddie Guerrero. These two definitely had their issues backstage, right? But something about them in the ring just clicked. I mean, we watched this match. They worked so well together. They were undeniable. So they quickly won tag team gold, becoming what many still look at as the most hated tag team in Mexican wrestling history.
Ooh, that's an understatement.
Their name was changed to Los Gringos Locos thanks to an announcer calling them such during a match. Just as all the greatest factions in wrestling are named. The team's greatest rivals were El Hijo, Del Santo, and Octagon, whom they would go on to face in a double hair versus mask match at the first ever Lucha pay-per-view to broadcast in America when Worlds Collide. We'll get there in a sec.
We got to talk about Triple Mania 2 first.
We'll get there. Elio Del Santo is one of the most legendary luchadors of all time, right up there with Atlantis and Mil Mascaras, undoubtedly with an assist from the iconic legacy inherited from his father, including the most recognizable lucha mask in wrestling history that we just talked about. Octagon is a talented martial artist. Because of this, similar to the Tiger Mask and Jushin Liger concepts out of Japan, Octagon's character was featured in several movies.
Yes.
He had a series of Mexican ninja movies alongside fellow luchador Atlantis. One of these movies actually starred Eddie Guerrero. His only acting credit. Go watch it.
You can see us watch this live on YouTube.
Did you know
Watch along party.
They mentioned this briefly in the match. That Octagon, a very avid Chuck Norris fan, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's a Chuck Norris movie called The Octagon.
Yes!
About a cabal of ninjas in Southern California.
Oh my God.
And
He
one of
is.
the
He's a
characters-
Mexican ninja, complete with the black outfit, black and white mask, and then the red headband. I mean, he's a Mexican ninja.
I do want to point out before we get too deep into this, his mask is like almost identical to El Generico's mask. So I got to feel like, is El Generico like his son? Or like his nephew?
I don't know,
They've got to be related.
But did you know he's best friends with Sami Zayn?
I did not know that,
Yeah.
actually.
I've heard that rumor. I've never seen it confirmed or denied.
Octagon, the character, was so popular in Mexico that in 1995, he spawned an evil twin known as Pentagon. Always portrayed as a rudo, the Mexican term for heel, Pentagon would go on to be portrayed by a number of wrestlers over the years, and in 2012, AAA introduced Octagon Jr., which led to the introduction of
Pentagon Jr.
Pentagon Jr.
Hey, that name sounds familiar.
Who you can
should
currently see in
sound
AEW.
very familiar. When Octagon joined AAA in 1992, he was quickly paired with Elio Del Santo, and they went on to become the top face tag team in the promotion. At the inaugural Triple Mania event, Santo and Octagon teamed with Vinalo Tres to defeat Fuerza Guerrera, Heavy Metal, and Rambo.
Rambo! Sorry, I couldn't resist.
So getting back to Los Gringos Locos. In November of 1993, Los Gringos Locos were paired up against Santo and Octagon in a match designed to crown the first ever AAA IWC Tag Team Champions, and that's International Wrestling Council. The teams would go on to feud throughout Triple Mania 2, which, Paul, did you have something to say about Triple Mania 2?
Triple Mania 2 was like the big coming out party for Los Gringos Locos. So this is like, I forget the original lineup. It's Art Barr and Eddie, and there's a third guy whose name is escaping me. I'm sorry. But they had this really big...
Conan, I know Conan joined.
It wasn't Conan. It
It
was
wasn't
another guy.
Conan
It was
yet.
a big useless guy who's really, really big.
Was that Madonna's husband?
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think Madonna's that committed because it is Madonna's boyfriend. As a
that's
matter
it.
of fact.
Yeah. And the best way to describe him was he was a big useless lad. Really big, top-heavy guy. Couldn't move very well, but he was strong. And so Del Santo and Octagon brought in the Blue Panthers, kind of like the answer to Madonna's boyfriend. And so
I can't get over it. Madonna's boyfriend.
so they had a big triple threat match at Triple Mania 2. and there wasn't really like there was like it wasn't really a decisive ending. Like, oh, this rivalry is not going anywhere.
The 6-man tag.
The 6-man tag, yeah. And so the rivalry was still set between all 6 men, but the big story match was Love Machine and Guerrero versus Del Santo and Octagon. And so it led to this match, the Mask versus Hair 2 out of 3 falls match at Worlds Collide.
Yeah, I mean, shortly after the Triple Mania 2 deal in July of 1994, Santo and Octagon would lose the belts to Eddie and Love Machine. In controversial fashion, they actually paid off the referees. I mean, you want to become the biggest heels in the industry. I mean,
I just hear Hulk Hogan going, how much did you have to pay the referee? How much for the plastic surgery, brother?
Oh my God, I just have this image of Jeff Jarrett laying down in the center of the ring. Okay, in an attempt...
Is this your deal, Conan? That's why this company's in a state of sin, because of bullshit like this.
In an attempt to persuade Los Gringos Locos to give them another chance to regain their belts, they wagered their mask, setting up the Luchas de Apuestas match at When Worlds Collide. And I just have to say, but for more context on this, I highly recommend you check out Keep Kayfabe on YouTube. Oh, yeah. They have an excellent, excellent breakdown of Eddie Guerrero's career and this match in particular.
Yeah,
fantastic.
I will say, Paul mentioned that this is a 2 out of 3 falls match, but don't think of it as your regular run-of-the-mill 2 out of 3 falls match, because there are some special rules, and they're really, really interesting. So the idea is...
Some special rules that are never properly explained.
No, we figure it out as we go, but I think I figured out...
But I really like them.
Oh, no, I think we should do it all the time. I think it's tremendous. The idea is, in order to gain an actual fall in the matchup, you have to beat both men. Opponents.
They don't explain that, because I'm like, the first fall happens in like 30 seconds, but like, what's going on? Like, oh no, you got to pin both men to get a fall. Like, oh, well, why don't you say that?
And it's best 2 out of 3. Oh.
So that really makes it best 4 out of, I don't know. Like, it's a lot, but it's really fun.
It sets up a lot of really interesting possible scenarios, right?
Well, and I think they use that to their advantage to tell a really interesting story the second half.
They
really do.
Yeah, I'm excited to get there. I will tell you guys on commentary here, November the 6th, 1994, is Mike Tenay and Chris Cruz. Did you guys know this is Mike Tenay's first play-by-play ever? His first?
What?
Yeah, this is his first appearance as a play-by-play announcer.
Shut up.
First time.
Pro from day one.
This is fucking flawless.
Isn't that amazing?
Match.
This is his 6th appearance in the pocket. This is Chris Cruz's 2nd.
Chris Cruz is 2nd. You're absolutely right.
6?
But it should come as no surprise that if this is Mike Tenay's first, that WCW, of course, brings him in. Because this event, this AAA event, being in Los Angeles, is being produced by WCW's team.
Well, they brought in Eddie Guerrero a year later. I mean...
Yeah, so it's just really, really interesting to me. Mike Tenay got his start as a play-by-play announcer right here on November 6, 1994. And then anybody happen to notice what the referee was wearing?
Suspenders.
Anybody happen to catch his name?
They never said his name. I didn't remember hearing his name.
They did, in fact, say his name.
Did
they really?
They did say his name, and I hit the internet very quickly thereafter to make sure that I heard it correctly. And I did. The referee for this match is Tarantes. That's correct. He wears suspenders. He's very, very famous. He's the big AAA referee at this point.
He wears suspenders. It's not that all AAA referees wear suspenders.
He is known for his suspenders.
Just like Red Shoes is known for the red shoes. Okay.
And then there's White Shoes, who is not actually related at all. He just happened to be wearing white shoes the one match review.
He was forever.
And then if you guys remember at Dream Slam, we had Bowler Ref.
We did. Which one was the guy with the really starched collar?
That was Bowler Ref. So we got Bowler Ref.
Never forget.
We've got Suspender Ref. We've got Red Shoes. Oh God, we need Cartwheel Ref from ECW to come in.
Oh my God, the best.
Guys, are you ready to get into this Lucha Libre mask?
I've never been more ready for anything in my entire life.
Man, it's so fun. Like we said, 2 out of 3 falls, but it's a little more detailed than that. How does this one get going?
Okay, so Eddie and his mullet begin with Del Santo.
but to be fair, we mentioned earlier the 6-man tag match at Triple Mania 2, and Blue Panther and Madonna's boyfriend accompany their respective
They do.
groups
They're both here.
to the ring.
I do want also something that I think is really, really fascinating to watch is how Art Barr taunts the crowd throughout this
Oh
match.
So
my
good.
God, he loves trash talking.
He loves trash talking, and the first thing I see him do when they're coming up the ramp is he does this swimming motion
Oh my god!
at the crowd,
Oh, and-
insinuating.
And I didn't really pay attention to that until all of a sudden Janae goes, well, what he's doing there is insinuating that all Mexicans swim across the border, or as they're referred to as wetbacks. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that word on this broadcast. And I'm like, you probably shouldn't have said that, Mike. We got
oh,
it.
it's horrible.
I
did
just
not have to say
I
that.
saw that and I went, damn.
And then the next sentence out of his mouth is, yeah, Art Barr is a security risk when wrestling in Mexico. That's why we're here in the Los Angeles sports.
Well, they did, but they're so good. Did you guys happen to catch?
Wait, I'm so sorry, Landon, to cut you off, but
Go
I
ahead.
just realized this is why they couldn't have it in the Coliseum.
Exactly. Security risk.
It's the security risk. He is this event Sergeant Slaughter.
Exactly.
Enough of the WrestleMania 7
I
references,
could not-
guys.
it hit me like a bolt of
Well, I
lightning.
mean, we do see Chuck Norris WrestleMania 7, and Octagon is a Chuck Norris reference.
Shut up.
So, I mean, like, they're 3 years apart. They're
forgot- I
connected
forgot
on
he
so
was
many
in
levels.
Kevin Bacon's there too, from what I
He
from what I
is
got.
there, yeah.
Did you guys happen to see the pre-match promo for this match?
So, oh my god.
It was so unbelievably good.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Guerrero. So Art Barr speaks no. I mean, I don't know if he actually speaks no Spanish, but he chooses not to speak Spanish.
The quote unquote the only word in Spanish he knows is "shut up." It's the only word he knows. Apparently,
It's weird because, like, they'll cut promos and Eddie will go, I don't speak Spanish. And he, like, just has to pause because he's going to say something in Spanish.
No, well, he
And he,
ends
like,
up.
pats Art Barr, like, all right, tell him, Love Machine. And Love Machine, yeah, all you stupid fans. Yeah, blah.
Yeah, he ends up translating for Art for all the stupid Mexicans that don't speak English. I mean, they were such huge heel, the biggest heels in the tag team world in Mexico. It was insane.
I do think it's funny because I think angles like this are the reason why we got a lot of, like, deport Eddie signs like 10 years later. But my question was always, like, where? He's from Texas. We're going to deport him to El Paso? Okay.
Well, I think at least they insinuate in this match that he's born in Mexico but grew up in El Paso.
Yeah. I mean, he was, but, like, he was an American citizen, so.
Santo, early on in this match, escapes a headlock with a Northern Lights suplex.
Yes, he does.
It's just
of course he does.
Oh, yeah.
insane.
Oh, my God.
This is a match. It's got a 30-minute time limit, but and this should really go unsaid considering we're doing a lucha libre match. But it's fast from beginning.
You
to
just
end.
can't.
I can't
say
do it every time.
Lucha Libre match.
Match.
It's just you think you listen to Lucha Libre and you think mask. I get it
automatically.
I totally get it.
It's totally my bad.
Well, you know what? I think my favorite moment in this entire match. By the way, that first pin, it happens very, very quickly. It's like, whoa, it's and then, like, they don't explain, like, we're not actually in Fall 2. We're in the second half of Fall 1 now. But I love this because Eddie offers a free shot to Octagon, and then Barr just blindsides Octagon.
So good.
And then Eddie does a flip senton, and I'm like, what is going on?
The way
Oh, man.
Octagon moves in the ring is so smooth. It's like he's more comfortable in the ring than he is on his couch.
Well, Octagon and Santo do tandem Hurricane Ranas, and both of them go to the outside on Eddie and Art. And I'm like, okay, we're like 2 minutes into this match, and they're already going hell for leather.
I love some of the things that Mike Tenay says here. Like, Mike Tenay mentions Santo being one of the absolute legendary luchadors of one of the most legendary luchadors of all time. And he mentions that Santo's father had the largest funeral ever in Mexico. First of all, how do you know that?
Because it's Mike Tenay.
That Mike
he
Tenay
knows
knows
everything.
everything.
I'm going to quote Bobby Heenan. Mike, tell me something you don't know. That match also featured Eddie Guerrero.
That's true.
It's only 3 years later, too. So we get some gorgeous tandem tope suicidas to the outside by Octagon and Santo.
I mean, they could not have been timed better, right?
Oh,
They were
it's beautiful.
perfect. They were perfect.
Well, no, there's one thing I forgot to mention. So It's like favorite. I know we do favorites at the end, but I love this shit.
You
so
never do favorite moments at the end.
I never do at the end. We're supposed to. I never do. So Art and Eddie are both doing like the Irish whips into the corner, but they both get reversed by Octagon and Santo, and so they get Irish whipped into each other, and that causes them to spill over the top rope.
Oh, I love that.
And that's when we get the tandem topes, and I'm like, I fucking love this match.
Eddie and Love Machine get a quick first fall thanks to an electric chair assist hurricanrana followed up by a frog splash. I mean,
so scary.
So let's speak about the Art Barr frog splash. Because
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And I know that we often think about Eddie Guerrero's frog splash as being Eddie's move, right? When we think about other frog splashes, we think about Eddie first, or we think about Rob Van Dam or things like that, right? But I think the frog splash is really just all the different versions stem from Art Barr's.
Yeah, that was his move. Eddie actually adopted as a tribute to him after he died.
Wow, I had no idea. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
That was not Eddie's finish.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Eddie does a hell of a lot of moves in this match.
Yes, he does.
And any of them could have been his finish. I mean, the fucking Frankensteiners, dude.
Yeah.
Insane.
Several of them. Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're gonna talk about Frankenstein's in a minute, but one thing I do want to talk about is Santo does a sunset flip, but Eddie they roll through, and then Eddie does a Frankensteiner, and it's like how? Like he rolls through a sunset flip and does a Frankenstein.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
My brain doesn't work that way.
I don't get it either.
Like I know gymnasts who can't do stuff like that.
So now that Santo and Octagon have been defeated, officially the first fall is over. They've both been pinned, so first fall officially done. We are now on to the second fall, and it's an interesting one.
Oh yeah, and that we get that, and then like you were saying, when they said, "Oh, now we're in fall 2," I thought that was fall 2, and I'm like, the match is over. It's like 5 minutes. This video is like 32 minutes long.
Man, I was like, how is this recommended for one of our greatest of all time? It's literally 4 minutes long.
I mean, did you see what they did? Eddie is such a great heel.
So good.
I mean, he knows how to slow the pace and pick his spots probably better than anyone ever.
Oh yeah, one thing I really like, and it was pointed out in the Keep Kayfabe video, Eddie and Art frequently go to the outside and discuss strategy. And somebody pointed out how that is the most realistic thing I've ever seen in wrestling. And I'm like, you're right, because it's what you would do. You'd go down, all right, what are we going to do next? All right, I think we should do this. Let's focus on keeping. We got to keep Santo grounded. If Octagon's in there, we got to keep him off of his feet. We have to keep both of the men on the ground, and that way we can work towards submissions, and that way we can do our big high flying moves to finish him off.
Well,
right,
and you hear them say it's like, and we're doing it for America.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Oh
for
my gosh!
America. Yeah,
got to do it for the United
flags.
States. Once you start hearing them talk about doing it for the United States, that's when you start hearing Art Barr in the corner yelling a 187 chant. Did you guys pick this up?
No.
So he's referring to Prop 187, which was in Congress in California at the time, which was a bill that would have prevented illegal immigrants from receiving health care and other essential things. So
they are the biggest heels.
The
in Mexican
biggest
wrestling.
heels ever.
Well, Octagon apparently doesn't like that because he does a leapfrog over Eddie Guerrero and then hits a fucking Frankensteiner.
Insane. I love seeing Eddie's classic, and I guess I don't know if you can call it classic Eddie at this point, but the senton coming into the ring from the outside.
It's just, I'm not sure there's a smoother move in professional wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's a snap, and it's perfect every time.
It's really cool knowing that he had it in his repertoire all the way back in 1994.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, the high angle too. He always got a lot of air on it.
You know what else was crisp? Was Art Barr's standing drop kicks.
Oh.
That make Bob Holly blush.
I tell you what, they were really, really good. And Octagon takes them very, very well in the middle of the ring.
Yeah. But as I said a moment ago, Octagon does the leapfrog over Eddie and then hits the Frankensteiner in one fluid motion on Art Barr, and then he gets a submission. So that's like, okay, that's like 1-2A for Santo and Octagon.
Well, it's important to note, I think, that Santo had already been eliminated by this point.
Yeah,
right?
so Eddie gets another pin off of a Frankensteiner.
Yeah.
And I mean, it looks bleak early for Santo and Octagon.
Right, so now they're down 1.5, so to speak, pretty quick.
But just as it looks like everything is over, Octagon is able to hit that tight Hurricanrana pin.
It's so scary.
To eliminate Eddie. But while this is happening, I love this. While this is going on, Love Machine is taunting the crowd. He's got his back to the whole thing.
He's not paying attention, yeah.
And he thinks that the ref counting 1, 2, 3 is for Eddie pinning Octagon. He's quickly caught in a Russian leg sweep, turned quickly into what? An octopus lock?
I couldn't tell.
Has anyone seen a
It
Russian
zoomed
leg
out.
sweep
It zoomed
turn
out.
into a submission like that before? Insane.
It like zooms out. You can't really see what it is.
But yeah, no. Art Barr submits, making the score 1-1.
Blink of an eye.
Seriously.
Blink of an eye. You go from having what looks like Guerrero and Barr being a clean sweep, very quickly ending this match, to, oh shit, like Octagon just saved it for his team, right? And now all of a sudden we're tied again at 1.
Yep. He gets
So
2A
good.
and 2B within 30 seconds.
And it's amazing because at this point, any more pinfalls will permanently eliminate that party from the match. It gets very, very interesting.
Very tense. So I love this because when we get to all three, that's when they roll out of the ring. And then Barr goes, "Let's do it for America, Eddie."
So good.
They're wearing great gear. I just want to say,
Oh, it's wonderful.
the American tights, they're good. They're very 94, but they're really
as if you didn't know that these two men are from America.
right.
They're American males, you might say.
Oh,
That tag team from a year later.
Eddie tries to lock in the gory special on Octagon.
well, I just a quick love letter to the Gory special.
So good.
Underrated.
Oh yeah.
Extremely.
You don't see it
Very,
much anymore.
Very difficult to execute.
yeah,
And
but
Landon can tell you firsthand, it's
boy,
very painful.
oh.
It is. And you'll never do it to me again.
You said that now. Once we hit our next Patreon stretch goal, we're going for our own wrestling company.
Literal stretch goal. But Santos does stop him from locking in the gory special. I love that he went for it as that callback
yeah.
to the Santos and gory. It's just so good.
It's the little details and knowing the legacy of Lucha Libre wrestling, to be able to pull back from the history and do those little small things are what take your average match and make it something that's 5 stars, or make it something that belong on a list like this.
Well said.
Very well.
Eddie goes to the top with his back to Santo. So Santo rushes to the ropes, lifts Eddie to the second rope, and does a second rope electric chair drop.
Yeah.
And I thought the ring was going to break.
Yeah, Brett's rope, electric chair drop.
A kick sends Eddie to the outside, and Santo flies over the top rope to hit Eddie with the sunset flip powerbomb onto the floor. Craziest sunset flip I've ever seen.
And we've seen some shit in this podcast.
Like, I'm not talking Eddie was on the apron and he flipped over. Eddie was on the floor.
Yeah.
And he still went for it and nailed it. And hey, guess what? That's
Powerbomb!
There we go.
what I thought.
Streak!
I do want to say something, and this is something that Mike Tenay says that I think really should be often repeated. And it's when Guerrero and Barr, they do tandem dives to the outside. But Guerrero doesn't get all of his.
No, he doesn't. He kind of like slips.
And so Mike Tenay says the tandem dives by Guerrero and Barr were received with mixed results.
That's so good.
And I think that's good, instead of just pretending they hit them both.
He didn't get all that.
You don't even say that. Mixed results, because that's what it was.
Isn't that? I just thought it was very small, but I was like, man, Mike Tenay, you just got to appreciate it. It's just so good.
Now, this moment was considered controversial in 94. I think it's actually more controversial in 2020. So, Art Barr has had enough of Octagon shit. And he does a pile driver on the outside.
Well, is this while the referee? Well, is this the one done while the referee's back had to have been turned? Because if the referee saw it, it would have been a disqualification.
You're correct. He did not see it.
Because this is how Art Barr lost his mask whenever he went to do Lucha Libre.
No, it's not seen. It's not on the outside. and the referee doesn't see it. And it's like, oh, the pile driver by Barr. That's illegal in Mexican. That's illegal. He's like, they kind of go off. And I'm sitting there going like, it's a pile driver. What's the big deal? This is before I watched like this long video explaining.
Well, and the way he did it, it was in the middle of the ring, actually. It wasn't on the outside. It was in the middle of the ring.
I'm sorry, you're right.
He does a jumping, twisting. Like, it's like a spinning tombstone
He
pile
does
driver.
he does like the Undertaker's pissed off and wants to hurt the opponent more.
It was insane. But yeah, that's enough for the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Eliminating Octagon
And then
from the match.
They throw him out, and I say they throw him out. He gets wheeled out of the ring.
Yeah,
and,
he's stretchered out. I mean,
well,
they sold pile drivers as deadly.
Well, he saw the pile driver as if I'm actually dead because he doesn't move.
Yep.
For the next like 10 minutes. So this is when I thought the match kind of went off the rails a little bit, and it did go off the rails a little bit. And depending on where you watch it, there's a quick little fast forward. And I was like, what's going on here? And it turns out that in the event of like a brawl or the referee loses control of the match, they don't throw the match out. They just literally pause. And once they regain control, the match restarts. And that's what happens. That's why there's a little like 2 or 3 minute skip.
There's a blip, yeah.
Yeah, and that confused the hell. Like, why they fast forward? Like, they fast forward because it's like about 5 minutes of the referee going, no. This match is going to continue when we get control.
So from here, Eddie and Art hit a crazy clothesline combination German suplex, and I thought Santos was dead.
Right, I thought that was it. It wasn't. And in case you really thought this match wasn't going to keep going, Guerrero hits a superplex off the top. Barr follows up with a frog splash. Santo, again, kicks out.
And I don't think anyone had kicked out of the frog splash at this point. Like, that was huge.
Not to my recollection.
I mean, Santo is essentially forced to run away from one member of Los Gringos Locos while chasing after the other. That's essentially what the match breaks into.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and this leads into a huge dive off the top onto Eddie, who's on the outside. And it's at this point that Blue Panther gets into the ring, and while the ref is distracted with Santo on the outside, hits the return pile driver to Love Machine. Woo. And allows Santo to eliminate Love Machine from this match. And at this point, I just want to pause because this is what makes this match so excellent. It all comes down to where it all began. Who's the better man? El Hijo del Santo or Eddie Guerrero? I mean, the story of this match is rooted back to many years before these four guys ever laced their boots, right? It's Eddie and El Hijo's fathers, Gory and El Santo. And the story this match tells is Eddie Guerrero being fed up, tired of the Guerrero family being second place to the legendary Santo family. That's the story that they're telling. So Eddie was going to do what nobody else had been able to do in the history of the Santo family. He was going to take the most legendary mask in Lucha Libre. And just the desire out of both of these guys for the remainder of the match is loud and clear.
Put yourself in that arena in 1994. You know, when you know these stories, when you are enthralled in the atmosphere around you, put yourself into that position. It looked like Santo and Octagon were going to lose so early on.
Yeah.
Octagon saved them in the second fall. And now Santo.
And then he might, for all we know, he's paralyzed because he's not moving on the
right,
outside.
he's been carried out on a stretcher. Barr is knocked out from a pile
he's
driver
unconscious.
delivered by Blue Panther.
Middle of the ring, just laying there.
Santo is making the save for his team in this third fall. And then you're down, like you said, Lane, into just Guerrero and Santo.
Yeah, like the fall 3B is basically a singles match between Eddie and Santo.
Hair versus mask.
Exactly. And I love this because powerbomb by Eddie.
Oh, yeah, powerbomb by
The
Eddie.
streak, baby.
A sit-down powerbomb. It's really nice.
Woo.
It's really nice.
Powerbomb
Well, a powerbomb isn't enough.
forever.
Belly to belly off the top rope. I mean, this is 2 years before Kurt Angle even showed up in WWF.
Right, and it's 22 years before NXT TakeOver Brooklyn.
Boom. Belly to belly.
There you go.
So, oh man, belly to belly superplex. And we got Super Frankensteiner.
I love that throughout this entire time, Love Machine is still in the ring.
Oh, he's just laying in the corner.
Totally dead. Like, he is selling the pile driver as if he's dead. When he wakes up, he literally asks, and you can hear it, "Where am I?"
God, I love
man.
professional wrestling. Oh, man, it's so good.
Where am I? I'll tell you where. Dragon Suplex by Eddie Guerrero.
Dragon Suplex
With
City
a bridge.
literally drops Santo on his head.
But
Did anybody else catch the really strange mic check?
Yeah.
Check.
That was actually just maracas in the background warming up.
Oh
for
my
the
God.
celebration.
Paul.
Sorry.
Eddie tries to lock in a full Nelson, and Santo rolls through. And this is a really sort of freak, sort of surprise ending, right? Because Eddie has we've seen what he can do whenever he has you in a full Nelson, right? We saw the Dragon Suplex earlier. But whenever he does it this time, Santo uses his veteran skills and rolls through into a victory roll, surprising Eddie.
Surprising everybody.
For the very, very important win.
He gets it. He saves the masks. But more importantly, Art Barr. Where am I? You're getting your head shaved, sir. Oh, no.
Art Barr.
What I love
Eddie
about
Guerrero.
this post-match is Barr and Guerrero cut each other's hair.
So
Yeah,
good.
and,
Right.
and then Santo takes the locks and throws him in the crowd.
He's just giving hair away, right?
Eddie.
Chris Cruz says, and I just thought it was so funny. He says that Guerrero and Barr are cutting each other's hair in a show of, I don't know, unity.
It's like, I don't want to. Just do it. Cut it, man. Cut it.
You know what? Kudos to that guy. I thought they played really, really well across
They
from
did.
each other.
I did
tonight.
too. I did too.
And they play together really well in 8 years at the second ever TNA show.
Eddie screaming at Art Barr, "Just do it, man! Just cut my hair! I can't do it! I can't!" So good.
And so this is going on. We get the big celebration. The hair's being like thrown out to the crowd, and then depending on what version of the match you watch, it ends here. Version I watched, it keeps going. They follow Eddie and Art to the back of the ring where they grab clippers and shave their heads down to the scalp. And I'm like, they just look mortified. And I'm like, fuck both of you. You deserve it.
Guys, this match.
Yeah, I never feel bad for the people that get their hair shaved.
No, I don't either.
Because, like, to your point, most of the time they deserve it.
Yeah.
But especially if it's a mask versus hair match, you don't want to. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know curiosity is interesting, but I don't want to see, as important as masks are, I don't want to see anybody have to take theirs off. That's emotional and a big deal.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm glad that Guerrero and Barr lose this match. And, God, they put on a show.
They really, really did. I've already mentioned mine, but gentlemen, favorite moments.
Yeah, I think actually mine is probably just watching Octagon move through some of these series of reversals, right? And the having Love Machine's back turned, taunting to the crowd while
'Cause he thinks they're
Octagon
about to
pins
win.
Eddie.
Yeah.
So good.
Like,
So
yeah,
good.
man, we're going to win. Turns around, what's going on? Oh, no, I'm being rolled up. Submission. I tap out.
I think Santo and Guerrero, that last one-on-one fall,
Yeah,
I think
it's-
is my favorite
It's
thing.
it's pretty short, but like at that point, they didn't need to do a whole lot.
No, and it's and they go and it's heavy. You know what I mean? Like it's brutal that whole last 2 or 3 minutes, and I just really really love it. I want to tell you that what I thought about. Landon, you were talking about Guerrero trying to prove like his family's worth, right? And I just thought a lot about his feud with Rey Mysterio for WrestleMania 21. And now a little bit different because Rey and Eddie were tag champs together at that point. But it had a lot of the same thing where Guerrero was trying to prove he was better, and he just couldn't do it, right? Opportunity after opportunity, just can't get it done. And Rey Mysterio wins at WrestleMania 21 with sort of that surprise pin. Santo wins with a surprise pin here. And so I just drew parallels to it. And it just reminds me how good Eddie Guerrero is as the guy, and I kind of feel similarly to Shawn Michaels, the guy who doesn't have to win to look like $1 million.
No, he doesn't have to.
To look like the absolute best wrestler on the planet. And that's just something that I appreciate about Eddie Guerrero more than maybe anything.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so favorite moments are done. It's time for the first time in the second half of Last Match Standing. For the 51st time, we have to rank this match
Up against 50 other matches.
So you see, this is one of those matches that's very, very difficult because there's nothing really that we've done so far that I think really compares to this. Not because, it's the greatest match of all time. It's just saying, like, this is very different from what we've previously seen. I mean, we've seen shades of this with, like, Eddie and Ray, or I think the closest thing I've seen to this is watching Loki and Psychosis work together at that X Division Fatal 4-Way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely got some
shades of that, and I'm like, I don't know if I put this quite that high, but it's definitely on that level.
In a match of 50 lists so far, and now 51, this is only our 7th tag team match, right? So it doesn't give us a lot of comparison. It doesn't give us a lot to compare it to. So I have a number that I kind of thought about ahead of time, but I'm really curious where you two guys fall. And I do like the low-key comparison. I think that's really good. Mm-hmm. I'll go first, I guess, if that's okay. I feel like I don't go first often, most of the time, because I'm trying to put it off desperately.
Yeah, I also have a number, and I feel confident. So,
okay.
So what do you got?
I went as I crawled up and down the list. I stopped at match number 22.
Oh my God, Ishii and Shibata.
Yeah, right below that.
I was literally going, man, this reminds me a lot of that match.
Right between that and Trish and Lita.
That is literally the number. Not necessarily that number, but I was like in that range. I was just thinking in the back of my head.
Yeah, I think we're all sort of floating around the same area here.
Yeah, like the low 20s.
I wanted. I think that makes it the best tag match that we have on the list.
I think so.
And so you think about our highest ranked tag match to this point is number 28, DIY and Revival. But as I crawled up from there, which is kind of how I started to formulate my number, was coming off of the tag team matches. So DIY Revival, I went up Toyota and Hokuto, Kingston and Bryan, and I really thought Angle and Benoit was really close because I think that is a technical masterpiece.
Yeah.
But I wanted to put this match over Trish and Lita because of the importance and the rivalry that goes with it. So I went 22, but that's just me. Okay. So I know we're around the same level, but Landon, what do you think?
Usually matches with outside interference don't go very far on my ranking.
Agreed.
Usually, tag team matches are inherently less interesting to me personally.
Yeah.
Usually, matches with noticeable botches, of which this match has a few, aren't going very high on my list. Despite all this, I think this is one of the very best matches we've reviewed so far.
I think there was a glaring hole in our list, and I think this fills it pretty well.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. My ranking for this match was 16. It was too great of a story to go less than 20 for me, but not quite on the level as, say, a Cena HBK, which is currently 15. So I put it at 16. I'm comfortable somewhere in the range 16 to 20.
Yeah. To your point, I just want to say, you said that matches with outside interference don't really, normally get deducted in terms of points, maybe. I just want to say that in this instance, the outside interference felt justified.
Oh, absolutely.
Since Barr, used a move that's illegal. I
actually really liked.
Yeah, I think it added to it. It was
Blue Panther in this.
It
match.
was a rare occurrence where outside interference, I think, told a good part of the story.
I agree.
So I think you're right. Paul, 16 and 22, where do you fall?
I always hate when we go, oh man, we're going to end up having to split hairs, but that's the whole point of this show.
Yeah.
So if I go from 22 to 16, that's roughly 6 matches. Okay, 16, Tiger Mask and Dynamite Kid, right under Shawn and Cena. The 22, we put right under Ishii Shibata. So let's see. Okay, so we got Women's Triple Threat, Nakamura Ibushi, Bayley Sasha, T.A. Blanchard. Oof. I think it's funny because I'm like reading those matches out and I'm like, I think it's better than T.A. and Blanchard. I do think that.
I would like to say, though, I think T.A. and Blanchard personally is a little too high for me. Like my personal taste right now.
I was just thinking the exact same thing.
So that's definitely worth.
Guys, hearing that makes my soul go, ah!
So it's an interesting.
I broke Spencer.
There it is. It was a matter of time.
Yeah, I would definitely put it above T.A. Blanchard, but
maybe not above some of these other matches.
No, I don't know if I put it above like Nakamura and Ibushi or like the Iron Man match. I don't know if I would do that.
So Landon said he would feel comfortable 16 to 20.
That's my range.
Yeah, so I'm just outside of that.
Yeah.
So if I go up and put it over Ishii and Shibata and put it over the triple threat match at WrestleMania 32 and put it right at 20, right in between Nakamura and Ibushi and Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, how do you feel about that?
I was literally thinking about the exact same thing.
The 20?
Yeah.
I would be comfortable with that.
20?
20 it is.
20.
Well, guys, that's because we all have 20/20 vision.
Hey!
I'm so
You
ready
can't
for
tell, but I'm actually doing
2020.
the meme right now.
I'm so ready for 2020 to be over.
Yeah, I am too, but I am grateful that we were
Hard.
able to take part and celebrate a National Hispanic Heritage Month here on this episode of Last Match Standing in 2020. Just really, really deserved a spot on the list, and it will not be our last Lucha Libre match.
Oh, hell no.
Well, so is it a Lucha Libre match or is it just Lucha Libre?
I think it's probably
Lucha Libre, 'cause
just Lucha Libre.
It means free fight, so.
See, Landon, the one time I said match and not mass, you're going to take it away from me.
Yep. I was waiting for it.
This is at the time that you're like, sharpshooter. Scorpion lock.
Oh, no.
Guys, we are so glad to be back. So glad to be back and starting the trek here in the second half of the season as we make our way to 100 and try to figure out what is the last match standing. As a reminder, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter at Last Match Cast. Also, a special update for those of you guys that might want to give your feedback on the show. We have opened up to our Slammy Award winners on Patreon the ability to possibly send in your thoughts on our match and your ranking for it to be possibly played in one of our episodes. So if you are a Slammy Award winner and you're interested in that, definitely reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to tell you, maybe what that next match might be after the Twitter poll results, and hear what you think, because I thought Storm's opinion was very, very helpful to us in the Rock Hogan match, so I would love to hear from more of our patrons. I think that would be a really, really awesome addition to the show.
Yeah, we wanted to open it up for a limited time just to kind of give people an opportunity to interact with us and get more feedback from the show. Guys, this is really hard.
Yes, it is. And it's only going to get harder.
Spencer, you kind of going through the spiel and letting people know where they can listen to us sort of reminded me, how's your tongue feeling? Because the last time you did that, I think you were tasting some Inferno sauce.
Well, lots of people, and I mean hundreds of thousands of people, reached out to me. One, with well wishes, and two, also to ask, man, we had episode 50. Where's episode 51? And I told people, we're taking a mid-season break, which, of course we are. But the reality is that my tongue has been swollen for weeks.
Yeah, tongue was swollen. We got about 6 hurricanes this year.
Yeah. So
try 10.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. It was 10.
But yeah, so if you haven't heard, Spencer lost 3 trivia challenges in a row and therefore was subjective to some spicy punishment.
Yeah, 3 straight punishments, the last of which was very spicy and embarrassing in some ways.
But the best part is you get to learn a little bit more about Spencer throughout the process. So if you haven't seen it, go check out Last Match Standing's YouTube channel.
You might want to search for Last Match Standing Podcast. That's the easiest way to find us on YouTube.
Definitely.
I gotta say that I know we don't. We're trying to recycle punishments, but I definitely think we should all at some point do an interview like that because it was a lot of fun.
It would be fun.
And I like the idea of getting to know about each one of us individually.
Yeah, I just want to do them for fun.
Yeah,
but that would involve me losing a trivia, which I probably won't ever do.
You've already lost like 2.
No one needs to know that.
all I know is that I am going to put it all on the line and try really hard to avoid going 0-4 because I would really like to not be punished for once. But in episode 52, we'll have another Twitter poll. We'll have another Twitter poll up for you guys to vote. We can't wait to keep trekking here in Season 3 as we head towards episode 60 and beyond. Until next time, I'm Spencer.
I'm Paul.
I'm Landon.
And this is Last Match Standing.